Hey everybody, I just want to make a video, hopefully briefly, explaining the etude I made. I made my own etude for polka dots and moonbeams, something that Brent has highly encouraged. Um, I decided to pick a theme, which was large interval jumps, just to stretch myself. Tend to often get stuck playing intervals that are less than a tritone, lots of thirds and seconds and chromatic stuff. In my mind, large interval was mostly fifth and above. I did somewhat include tritones in there. I like the result it came up with. I feel like it's helped me or naturally include larger intervals, like major sevenths or octaves or fifths or that kind of thing. So hopefully I can explain this somewhat briefly so it won't be too tedious, but I started off just quoting the melody because I didn't know exactly where to start. It seemed like a wise place to start. So of course the melody goes, so I just changed that a little bit. So here's my first big interval jump. That's it's still following the pattern of the melody, just switched up. Was that a minor 6, I think? And then another big jump here, going down to major 7. And another one, major 6. Then ending here on the flat 9 of C, because I know I'm going to come back to C sharp, knowing I want to come back to the C and not be redundant. So then over the A minor 7, 3, 6, 2 thing. So I just took, there's the A minor arpeggio, skipped up a fifth, I skipped this note here in the middle, but then I decided to land on F, because now we're getting into D minor. Let's use the relative major of any minor chord, the major 7th arpeggio. It brings out the extensions. I always like that sound. And I really like this right here because there's major 7 jump. It sounds nice, it's pretty. And then we're getting into 9 or 2-5 here. So I decided to do a little arpeggio. So that gives you a tritone. Okay, so that gets us through bars 1 through 4, then starting at kind of 5 through 7, somewhat 8, are all, well, 5 through, I guess, 7 are definitely one development of one idea. 8 is related but transitioning. So we've got, let's see here. So all I'm doing here is I'm just taking this ba-ba-da, 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 and I'm trying to find interesting intervals within the arpeggios, or at least within the scale, and move them up as the chords are going down. So it just seemed like a good idea to have the arpeggios kind of move in the opposite direction of the chords. So that's the basic idea. That's just 11, 3, not an arpeggio. What is that? 3, 7. Then 3, 5. So that's a big jump, right? Sits the 5 below. I don't remember. Where are we there? Oh, that's 3, 5 again. So the A flat minor 7. So by this point you made it to an octave, and that, again, that's the flat 9 of C. Okay, and then now you've got A minor 7, got the 3, 6, 2, 5 turnaround kind of deal. So I just went back to the arpeggio. So you see that A minor arpeggio. Then there's D for D minor. And then there's a little bit of an arpeggio there, right? 7, 5 for G. Then 5, 3. Again, that sharp 9. I end up using that sharp 9 a lot because a lot of times I know I want to go to a phrase that's more resolved. It's like the next phrase, starting on bar 9, starts on C. Okay, so that's 5, 6, 7, 11, or 9, I mean. So not as much of an interval there. Just seemed like a good phrase to connect. And then we've got here over, I think we're back to bar 11 right now. Yeah, so we've got 5, 3, 1. I guess the 5, 3 worked a lot in this etude because it gives you a good interval and it's arpeggio based. Okay, and then I'm back to this idea of over D minor 7, F major. But rather than do the same thing, I did a little tritone action because you're getting into minor 2, 5, so that's your most distinctive note there of E minor 7 flat 5. Now that will do. I'll skip up a good interval and do another tritone for A7, and then I'll do another big interval, the sharp 9 instead of the flat 9. Okay, then bars 13 through, I guess 13 through 15, somewhat into 16, beginning of 16. I'm just doing, again, it's similar to what I did before. It's arpeggios that are going up, but I'm trying to skip around, not just play directly through them, so you can get interesting intervals. So a lot of these are 5, 1, 3, not all of them. This one's not. 1, 3, 6. There's an octave 5, 5, 3. And I thought initially I kept making this one go up and the second note go down, but I started getting way beyond an octave and it just sounded disjointed, so I decided to keep everything within an octave. And that's one thing I guess I found about large intervals. I like the large intervals, but going much beyond an octave sounds disjointed, like you're moving to different registers arbitrarily. So that's just, I guess, one of the biggest takeaways from doing this. Anyway. There's same thing. And then just to keep the movement, I included flat 13 instead of 5. And then your F here, 1, 3, 7. Okay, then we're going to transition into the B section of the song, where it's A major. Okay, so back to intervals. And this is, I think, my favorite part. These large intervals going down. So that's, I'm not sure what that is. A 6, major 6, I guess. Anyway, I just know it works well over A, B minor, this 1, 6, 2, 5 kind of thing. Okay, that sounds like major 7, right? The F, sorry, you're in 6 there. So all those fit within the 1-6-2-5. This last one, again, you've got, since you would be in E, the flat 9 thing again. But that's because I knew I wanted to come to the E for the next phrase to resolve. So just a little pedal there, resolving to the A. Then you got 9-3, which is a good interval. Sounds pretty. Okay, then over the diminished. Again, it's just the arpeggio but out of order. The diminished. Okay, then you're coming up to B minor. Again, 3, 5, 3, 1. Okay, this is a nice interval. Again, a flat 9 because you're coming to G7. So flat 9 to 3 of the 5 chord. Those are all nice intervals. And a little, progression there. Okay, then for this next section here, again, it's 1-6-2-5. So I just did some arpeggio stuff. There's a good 5. 5th interval. Okay, so the 1 there. Again, 5. Then here, this last part's a little different. Just to change it up. You hear the interval. Similar to what I did before. So I just like that sound. It works well in terms of big intervals and progressing to the chord tone. Okay, so now we're at bar 23 and 24, which is A7, D7, G minor 7, C7. So it's transitioning back to F. And I just treated it as if all of them were dominant chords. I know it's not in there, but as you know, in your reharmonization, you can often move a minor to a dominant. So I did that just for the sake of the continuity of this lick here, which is all tritones. So that's where I reharmonize. B. Okay, then we're back to the A section, verse 20, bar 25. All right, so again, it's kind of a mix of arpeggios and big intervals. So 3, 5, 9, because it gives you a 5th. And kind of walks back down the scale. And that's just pentatonic because you did a filler. 5. You're just walking down to a chord tone. Then again, that big jump to a flat 9. This is just basically pentatonic stuff. So I can get to this octave. Okay. Then I think we're over F at this point. No, G minor, sorry. So this is over your 2-5. So I just kind of bumped up with octaves. Okay, then bars 29 down to F major are all a similar idea, similar to what I did in other parts, which is I try to do interval jumps. These are not as big with chord tones and arpeggios. So you got for D minor, 5, 1, then the sharpened 7, and then here's over your B minor. So it'd be 6, 3, 2. But notice I kept this note here for continuity. And I did a lot of that kind of stuff where I just come back to a note over F major 7. 1, 5, sharp 11, A minor. And I decided for the sharp 7 again because you go quickly from here to here. And that note ends up being the 1. Okay, and then G minor, same thing. 5, 1, sharp 7. And in this case, you've got over C. 1, 4, 3. And then the last little bit here, F major 7. The resolution, 5. It's a 5th going down, but it's 3, 6, 7. A little chromatic phrase from 7 to 2. You can make a little bit of dissonance there. And then just ended with another little arpeggio interval skip. So 3, 11, 7, sharp 11. 6. Anyway, so hopefully that was helpful.